Friends, this is your shot at life-changing wealth, an opportunity so rare it's not just once in a generation, it's once in a species. Nothing in history compares to the scale of wealth transfer happening right now. Not ever. So let me ask you, are you giving in to fear, selling in a panic to those who know better? Because, believe it or not, many have been doing just that this month, in April, and honestly, it's concerning. If history repeats itself yet again, we're standing at the edge of the moment before the market goes ballistic, a parabolic surge signaling the peak. And when it does, XRP is primed to outperform. Just look at the strength it's maintained since the election. It's not over yet. But here's the kicker. What are those in the know doing? Let me show you what sovereign wealth funds have been up to. We've got some exciting XRP updates for you. Let me just say this up front. I've been reminding people left and right lately because it's hard to ignore what's happening. Every XRP analyst I follow, and trust me, I only follow the good ones, is calling for a massive breakout. They're all in agreement. We're in the calm before the storm. XRP isn't just gearing up for another all-time high. It's about to enter price discovery for the first time in over 7 years. Imagine that. Now, they might argue over how high it'll go, and hey, that's part of the fun, but make no mistake, it's coming. Soon, we'll all get to witness exactly how this plays out. Oh, and just so we're clear, this isn't financial advice. I'm no financial expert. Just someone who's excited to see where this rocket is headed. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say or write. Seriously, I'm just a crypto enthusiast who loves sharing thoughts on YouTube for fun. It's all a hobby for me. Now, as I'm recording this, it's 11:51 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. Let's talk XRP, currently sitting at $2.18, a slight dip from the past 24 hours, but nothing dramatic. Bitcoin, pretty much the same story. Down just a touch at $92,668.00. The market's doing its usual dance, so nothing to stress over. Here's the fun part, though. Something that really caught my attention today. This is honestly one of the coolest things I've seen in a while. You've got to check this out. Here's a headline from Cointelegraph. Sovereign wealth funds piling into Bitcoin as retail exits, says Coinbase exec. According to John D'Agostino, head of strategy at Coinbase Institutional, sovereign wealth funds and major institutions were quietly buying up Bitcoin in April 2025, while retail traders were exiting through exchange-traded funds in spot markets. Why is this important? Well, it's bigger than it seems. Let's talk about sovereign wealth funds. Ever wonder what they are? Here's a little something from the International Forum of Sovereign Wealth Funds. They've got a neat definition. Let me share a snippet with you. A sovereign wealth fund is essentially owned by the government, whether at the central or local level. So when you hear sovereign wealth fund, let's be clear, it's the government making those moves. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Bitcoin advocate Anthony Pompliano, with his 1.7 million followers, dropped a bombshell. He revealed that Coinbase confirmed on national television that sovereign wealth funds have been buying Bitcoin over the past few weeks, and yet no one seems to be paying attention. Think about it. Just 2 or 3 years ago, the idea of governments getting into Bitcoin would have sounded like science fiction. But here we are. This isn't just big institutions jumping in. This is governments stepping up. And you know what? He's absolutely right. It's hard to wrap your head around how much things have changed. What felt impossible just a few years back is now a reality. It feels like this is really being overlooked, doesn't it? This is a much bigger deal than most people realize. So you've got to wonder, and there he is right there in this clip. Yup, that's D'Agostino. He made a point that immediately struck me as the key question here, something we should all be asking ourselves. What is it that sovereign wealth funds know that retail investors don't? Think about it. Sovereign wealth funds, essentially governments, are buying, while retail investors have been panicking and selling throughout April. Sure, the market's bounced back a bit in recent days, but before that, it was all tariff scares and panic-driven sell-offs. Meanwhile, sovereign wealth funds quietly kept buying. That's intriguing, right? Even if Bitcoin isn't your thing, and yes, we're talking Bitcoin here, one thing is clear. The expectation is simple. Markets go up, prices rise. What do they see that we're missing? All the pieces are falling into place, and there's more to unpack later in the video. The momentum is still building. But if this keeps climbing, what's the ripple effect on altcoins? That's the real question here, because let's be honest, that's what we actually care about. I only cover Bitcoin on this channel to set the stage. It's not because I'm hyped about Bitcoin's price. It doesn't thrill me. The potential percentage gains this cycle, meh, nothing groundbreaking. What I'm really here for is XRP. That's where it gets interesting. Is this thing finally going to take off or not? My gut says yes, and apparently, so does the government. Do you think they're buying the top? Unlikely. So, what do they know that retail investors don't? Because let's face it, retail always ends up on the wrong side of the trade. XRP is gearing up to move in sync with the altcoin market, and I'm convinced this is the most likely scenario. History has a way of repeating itself after all. There's plenty more to discuss, but let's keep it brief. Check out this insight from chart analyst Mustache. Altcoins, the final wave has started. Are you ready? The chart he shares compares this cycle to previous ones, dating back as far as 2018. The structural similarities are intriguing. Could we be on the brink of another exciting altcoin surge? Take a moment to notice the patterns, the similarities. This highlights why predicting timelines and charting is so tricky. Even when someone correctly identifies a formation, the pace isn't fixed. It can speed up or slow down, as we clearly see here. What's interesting is that I haven't come across any analyst truly breaking the mold. Most still sing the same tune. The best is yet to come. But almost all agree, once that peak hits, the bear market will follow. Here's a fresh post from Crypto Wizard featuring the Bitcoin USD chart. Let's go, Houston, we have liftoff. This is the moment we've been waiting for. After 3 months of a downtrend, Bitcoin has exploded out of the falling wedge breakout. $100,000, 0 cents. Here we come. And according to him, this milestone might be closer than we think. Another top analyst, Neste, chimed in, the biggest impulse of this cycle is taking off. Grand finale. Bitcoin. For altcoin holders, this is music to the ears, because where Bitcoin leads, alt season follows. This sentiment is spreading fast, and it's not hard to see why. Here's an update from Credible Crypto on Bitcoin, and it's got some exciting possibilities. He believes we're eyeing one more push upward on the lower timeframes to solidify the next big move. If that happens, it's game on. Dips become prime buying opportunities, with a target of $150,000, 0 cents or more, on the horizon. However, if Bitcoin slips back below the $89,000 0 cents range before making that next move, we could see a third leg corrective structure instead. That just means we'll have to be a bit more patient for the real breakout. It's not off the table, but it might take slightly longer. Interestingly, similar predictions are popping up all over the place from other analysts, so there's a lot of consensus brewing here. Whether the rocket takes off now or soon after, $150 0 cents plus Bitcoin is looking more like a when rather than an if. And if Credible Crypto's right, imagine the profit flow into XRP and other altcoins when that happens. The ripple effect, pun intended, is going to be absolutely wild. Here's a post from Credible Crypto that caught my attention, and it's all about Ethereum. I'm happy to dive into this because honestly, Ethereum feels massively oversold right now. The overall sentiment is in the gutter, and we all know that's often when the biggest opportunities arise. Historically, Ethereum has sparked alt season, so I'd love to see it gain some momentum. But let's be real, my main hope is to watch XRP rise and leave Ethereum in the dust. That's the kind of showdown I'm here for, and I fully expect XRP to steal the spotlight. Sure, I think ETH can still perform decently from this point, but it's not what excites me the most. My focus is on XRP and a few other altcoins that I believe are primed to shine. Of course, I want my whole portfolio to thrive, but XRP feels like the true standout right now, and that's where my excitement lies. I know I'm not the only one feeling this way, especially after XRP has been held back for so long. Now, it feels like its moment to shine has finally arrived. On a similar note, Ethereum seems to be in a comparable position. The recent move off $1,533 0 cents looks genuinely impulsive. Definitely a promising sign. Oh, and just for context, Ethereum is sitting at $1.77 as I'm recording this. If this move is truly impulsive, it's the real deal, not just a minor bump. Kind of like when XRP took off last November. That wasn't just a small uptick. It was a full-blown, explosive leap forward. So here's the scoop. He mentioned that we're sitting at a supply zone, but if Bitcoin breaks out, Ethereum should follow suit. In that case, we likely won't see it drop below $1,500 0 cents again. For the most bullish outlook, we'll need a monthly close above the critical higher timeframe level of $1.87 to lock it in. If there's a pullback, dips into the green zone could offer the best risk-reward setup, assuming the bottom is already in. But if the green zone fails, we'd likely revisit range lows, aiming for the wick zone and potentially a final bottom. Either way, the move is coming. The question is, just like with Bitcoin, will it take a little longer or is it happening sooner rather than later? Chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto weighed in, pointing out that Ethereum recently hit its lowest level by signal. The signal flashed again, just like it did back in 2019 at this same level. And as Paul points out, take a look. This is Ethereum's market dominance. Sure, it's been in the gutter before. Was it game over? Absolutely not. Remember the noise around XRP from outsiders? It's dead. Why are you holding that dinosaur coin? They said. But guess what? That was the bottom. The absolute bottom, folks. The lowest point for dominance, the lowest against Bitcoin, and the USD bottom, that hit in June 2022. For Bitcoin, when measuring Bitcoin and XRP dominance, that moment truly marked the bottom. Then, like a firework, it skyrocketed. As one observer put it, let this be the macro bottom we've all been waiting for, please. Meanwhile, Mikey Bull Crypto weighed in with another update yesterday, XRP flirting with a symmetrical breakout. This was before the latest surge in price action. Fast forward to this morning, April 23rd, and he shared a fresh prediction. XRP breakout, $4.00 should be the target when it follows through. That seems to be the common feeling I keep coming across. It's just a waiting game now. When things finally take off, those who are in the right position are going to be over the moon. That's my take. Just a little more patience, folks. That's really all it takes. Speaking of which, here's an update from chart analyst Dammy. Yesterday on Binance's spot market, Bitcoin bulls faced a massive 1,000 BTC sell wall. But here's the kicker. It triggered the largest buy delta in over 2 years. Within just 30 minutes, 900 BTC were net bought. Absolutely insane, right? Now, on to XRP. Dammy shared an update on the charts. We had a promising run towards $2.30 earlier, but as he warned, Bitcoin decided to steal the spotlight again. The key level to watch is $2.20. It needs to flip into solid support. Fingers crossed, because that shift might just be happening now. To move forward, we need Bitcoin dominance to ease up and Bitcoin to stabilize above $90,000. If that happens, the 240s could be in sight. Right now, we're just under that mark as I'm recording this. At $2.18, things could change by the time you're watching, but we're close, and that's worth noting. Maybe we'll hold on to this momentum. Bitcoin isn't exactly crashing. In fact, it's hovering near $93.00. So, there's still hope. Even if the market dips, the rules never change. Patience pays off. Those who stick it out often win, while impatience rarely yields rewards. Oh, and speaking of patience, let's not forget the buzz around XRP. There's a lot of chatter there. Charting guy threw out a little smiley face and someone replied, "As for the whole Bitcoin ruins the party thing, stop me if you've heard that one before, LOL. Looks like Bitcoin's gearing up for another shot at that $94,000 key level. But here's the kicker. Every time XRP seems ready to make a move, Bitcoin takes a dive. Coincidence? Probably not. It's only happened, 829 times. Charting guy fires back. Definitely no coincidence. XRP sat still for years, then, as soon as Bitcoin hit price discovery in November, XRP went 7x in just a couple of months. Totally tracks. And yeah, if you zoom in on a shorter time frame, it makes sense. XRP's been trending down, especially against Bitcoin, so even during market recoveries, XRP barely bounces back. It feels like a pattern because every time Bitcoin surges, XRP struggles to keep up. Weird dynamic, right? But that's the dance we're watching. When the big moments arrive, the ones that really matter, things finally start to fall into place. XRP has legal clarity at last. Let's be real, this was always the most logical outcome, and now that it's here, the market is taking off. Do you really think XRP won't outperform everything else? I believed it would for years. I've said it over and over, and now, here we are. It's happening. To me, it's just common sense. Pure logic, driven by utility. Crypto Insight UK nailed it in a recent post. XRP and Bitcoin breakout, gold falling, DXY falling, perfect setup. Couldn't have said it better myself. I just want to point out something interesting here. What he's highlighting is the convergence that so many, myself included, have been discussing for a while now. Analysts have been buzzing about this. Gold, which historically behaves very differently from Bitcoin and crypto, seems to be hitting a peak. And it's not just me noticing. Tons of voices, like the blockchain backer, have been saying the same thing. Oh, and here's a fun one. The Wolf of Wall Street chimed in too. Gold is cooked, rotate into Bitcoin. Now that's a spicy take. Told you yesterday, and we'll keep telling you, the gold chart looks seriously topped out. Tons of analysts are saying it's peaked, and if that's true, we might finally be seeing the classic blow-off top. People flock to gold in rough times, but when it's run this high and analysts see no more room to climb, it's time to look elsewhere. Enter Bitcoin and alts. Many charts suggest there's still plenty of juice left in the crypto market, and honestly, it just makes sense. If gold drops, that's part of the bigger picture. Bitcoin dominance might take a hit, but that's not a bad thing. Why? Because when dominance dips, the altcoins often go wild. They don't need a flood of money to skyrocket. Even a trickle can send them soaring. Meanwhile, it takes an immense amount of cash to budge Bitcoin dominance upward. But those smaller alts, they're like fireworks waiting for a spark. Once they start moving, it can get explosive. Look, it's just the way it works. Every single cycle it plays out the same. But hey, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Personally, I'm feeling pretty optimistic that this market cycle will deliver what we're here for. And even if I'm wrong, I'm confident it'll happen eventually, no matter how long it takes. I'm sticking around regardless. That said, I don't think we'll be waiting that long. Why? Because if we were, this time would truly be different. And let's face it, this time is different, has never really aged well. Oh, and just to be clear, I'm not a financial advisor. Please don't make any buying or selling decisions based on what I say. Seriously, that would be a terrible idea.